Well, to get to those thoughts that come up are not from some evil place, some demon that's inflicting you with these terrible things. This is for you to review as something that's either going to change you and what you do or not. And that power lies with you.
Right.
It's not, oh, I can't control these thoughts. You are controlling them by how you respond to them.
Okay, yeah.
You are controlling them by saying, these thoughts are making me crazy. No, you're making you crazy. Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome back, or welcome to
the Memory Millionaires Podcast.
We are survivors of government service,
cancer,
world travel,
and parenting. We are here to share stories and insights to help illuminate your path towards a happier, healthier lifestyle. Hi, everybody.
Sorry.
Distracted by
yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, and I get to just look
His
at these
big
eyes. You just smile at me.
Yeah. Maybe those of you just listening don't have any idea what's happening.
There's a baby. He's nursing.
There's a big baby.
He's a big boy.
Nursing and smiling at mama.
He's 12.
He's got
12 weeks old.
Beautiful eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a little bit of motor control. So he can kind of do what you would assume he wants to do.
Yeah.
You know, like he wants to put his hand, he at least wants to put his hand on you. Like, that's, you know, he wants to do that. He wants to put his thumb in his mouth. And he does so. Oh, I'm just cracking knuckles on Mike.
How's it going?
It's going. Progress, not perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Progress, not perfection.
At this point of recording, we have a 12-week-old baby, as well as a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. How are you sleeping? How are you sleeping?
Sleeping? I think better than most. Especially most people with 3 kids. Especially with most people with 2 kids and a newborn. We've got a recipe that's... I can get 8 hours of sleep if I plan correctly.
So we recently made a change to our sleeping arrangements to allow for that.
One piece of equipment evolved from the cool bunk bed to a really cheap, simple floor, queen-sized sleeping arrangement. I won't even call it a mattress. It's a pad on a stand.
Yeah, that's a bed.
It's a bed. It's like what is it, like Japanese style?
I don't know. It's just a short little frame.
Yeah.
And to keep it up.
Well, you
the
searched
ground.
you found it for dirt. Like, what did we do? We put a queen size sleeping area together for $70, and it's all new.
Yeah, like 100.
100.
Like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put links down for what we're talking about.
That's made a difference, though.
It made all five of us get different, better sleep. Because what I was doing was just not.
We both, but definitely you, were clinging very tightly to that idea of you sleep in your bed, I sleep in my bed. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm.
I said it to him every time he'd come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You sleep in your bed. I sleep in my bed. Mom and Dad sleep in their bed. Sully sleeps in Sully's bed.
That is definitely a conditioned belief of you have to sleep in your bed. We've talked about this at length of trying to sleep train Colin.
Oh.
And getting to sleep in his own bed.
Regret is the answer.
And that regret.
And that regret is
speaking loudly now,
really
as we're
loud.
getting good sleep, everybody, with nobody crying.
Poor
Colin has pointed out to us in the past when we've said, Mom and Dad sleep in their bed, you sleep in your bed. He's like, but you'd sleep together and I am all alone.
Yeah, and I tried to tell him something like, "You're not alone. We're just down the, just down the hallway." No, he doesn't mean alone. He means
No one is with him.
together.
Together.
Yeah, together.
Yeah. And being able to let go of that ingrained belief that we have to sleep. You okay? Letting go of that idea that everyone needs to sleep in their own bed has allowed us better sleep. And I think that for us was a lesson of don't hold on to things so tightly.
Don't hold on to the boobies so tightly. Okay, good point. Yeah, what is supposed to be, what everyone's talking point is to us, which is, you're not sleeping at all, are you? Sorry. No, actually, we've made steps. And, we paid attention.
I think we've gotten past lessons that we're trying to remember now of don't hold on so tightly. What is that thing you're doing because that's how you were raised, or that's what society expects of you, of them? That's what a pediatrician determined was no kid should sleep in their parents' beds.
Well, I think that naturally it comes from the parents wanting a break. I believe that's what my motivation was for. Like, I sleep better in my bed. I don't sleep I sleep fine in their bed with them, which is what they ask of me. Is I sleep diagonally in the queen size bed so that I have head and foot room, and they're on either side of me. Colin doesn't like the asymmetry.
Yeah, because you don't sleep in a queen bed the way you normally would. The boys are turned, so they're
just monkeys.
They're across the width of the bed, not the length of the bed.
They're just monkeys anyway.
Sully
sleeps with his butt up in the air most of the time.
That's not the important thing. The important thing is learning to be more open to changing your mind.
Valuing what's good for us, what's good for the family. I've said more than once, whatever we're doing, I want it to equate to the family getting more sleep.
Right.
But what I was doing was equating to the family getting less sleep.
And I think that translates for us and for a lot of other people into different areas beyond just sleep, of doing things because that's the way they're done. The sum of the whole improves, not the one parent or the one situation. What is that? It feels like there's something there. Like what you're saying is what I'm trying to summarize into navigating the challenge before you. There's going to be a correct way to do it, but it may not be the way you were told. Right. Or the way that you think is the correct way to do it.
Right.
You're clinging so tightly to, well, this is what I think is right, without being open to accepting that just because you think it's right doesn't mean it is.
And in parenting, often what is right is you sacrificing your ego, your, beliefs even. Sacrificing for that sum to improve.
I mean, it comes across at bedtime, it comes across at meal times, it comes across at, us getting ready to go and getting in the van, like, you need to do it this way. No, you don't need to do it this way.
Mm-mm. Colin, you need to get into your seat and chick a click. But he doesn't until the van's on and it's moving.
Right.
He does do it.
He gets it done. And then every time the van starts moving, he starts to click himself in. It's not...
I love it. He'll say, I'm not chick a clicked. And I say, I'll drive safe. You do it quick.
And
Do it soon. I asked him, actually, it's a better sentence. Will you be soon? What, are you going to chick a click? If you're not, then I'll stop. But
But getting upset every time you get in the van and he's not in his seat and clicked, what is that doing?
Just making an upset human.
Yeah. Potentially two upset humans, because then you
Four.
say, I mean, it depends on the day. But, there's so much conditioning in our lives and the way that we believe things need to be only for the sake of, well, this is the way it is. And I think our children have been the best reflection of, or like that, that mirror for us of, no, that's not the way it needs to be. I don't need to sit down. I mean, we learned this a long time ago. I don't need to sit down at the table to eat. I can stand and eat. Maybe the only way you can get me to eat is if I come in here and take a bite and then run off and play. And
then when you force the white picket fence view of, no, you will sit here and you will eat for the rest of your life, they can't wait to get out and not be there. It's not what you wanted at all. Right. They're not sharing their day with you. They're just sitting there pissed and moving peas around like in all the movies.
Right. And we're learning that, okay, even if we do want everyone to sit down together and eat dinner and talk, the way that we're going to get to that is to let them just come in, take a bite, and then you might disappear for 10 minutes.
Off your plate. You're going to sacrifice your beautiful, well-prepared, let's call it just a glorious salad. And what's that 2-year-old going to do? He's going to come in there and pluck out all the really tasty, juicy,
the tomatoes.
the
or
best.
Or he's going to chew up the bacon and
tomatoes.
Spit it out.
So many times.
Disclaimer: there is no beautiful looking,
oh my goodness,
prepared dishes in this house right now.
Is. Well, I mean, they're well prepared and they're like lovingly, made to with some a little presentation. Like I put a little presentation.
Okay, you do, but I mean, we're not.
But it's not. It's grenaded as soon as it's on the table. I even make them little charcuterie boards sometimes. Like I think that needs to happen. Lunchables. What was it?
Adult Lunchables?
No, charcuterie boards are trauma-induced Lunchables.
Something like that.
Trauma bonding. Okay, tangent aside. What is it? It's, again, the laboratory in between stimulus and response. What am I gonna put the gorilla dad in and grab kids and move them to where they go, sit them down at the table, you will eat your peas? What's that gonna make? That's not gonna make
good relationships.
That's gonna make problems. Or is it sit back, let go of whatever you're thinking should be happening, and observe what is happening. Are the brothers playing together right now? If they're playing together right now, don't shut them up. Don't.
They don't need to eat if they're playing together nicely. They'll eat when they want.
They're on a little adventure that they're seeing glow in the dark things in the closet. Get out of the closet! You're not supposed to be in there. What's happening in there? What's happening? They're just looking at something in a closet, like, shush.
Yeah, so it's
slowing down. Spend some time in the witness.
Take a deep breath. This is not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Food is about to be a big deal in this house.
A big bill?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a way to do it. There's a way, like nachos can stay. They just need to
have more vegetables on them.
Yeah,
we just
pizza can stay. We just make it a flatbread that they decorate themselves. They populate the toppings on it.
We're going off on stuff that's...
Yeah. How's it going, having 3 kids? That's probably a good title, too. So there's 3. How's it going?
Better than I think most people expect.
In the conversations. Yep.
Because the way that they ask or the way that they say things make it seem like they're expecting me to say, like, oh, I'm so exhausted and just running ragged and I have no energy and things are crazy. Like, no, things aren't bad. I mean, sometimes it's hard, but it's not that, oh, it's terrible. Oh, don't have a third. It's gonna be, and oh, I'm not sleeping. No, like being able to take that pause and think, what is really needed right now?
Yeah, observing. Truly removing your ego by silencing it, by watching and documenting what you're seeing. I believe there's a way in the moment to be present where maybe it's even entertaining the ego. That is, I see this, it means that. I see this, it means that. But not in such a way that it is, I see this, I know it's this.
Or seeing something and thinking I immediately need to react to it. Like even the boys fighting, I've learned that sometimes they're gonna push each other, sometimes they're gonna hit each other, and me stepping in and saying, no, don't do that, or punishing right away does not allow them any chance to resolve a conflict on their own. Mm-hmm. It doesn't allow, if Sully got hit, it doesn't allow him any space for expressing his displeasure of being hit. It doesn't allow his brother to...
That's such a nice way. I would like to express my displeasure.
It doesn't allow Colin to hear that reflection back from his brother and
really sad
respond to it. It's mom stepping in and dictating, saying, you're in trouble now. Well, me giving him a consequence is not, at this point, doesn't seem as effective as the natural consequences he gets from his brother or himself. Like, there's...
Even inside of collegiate studies, inside of apprenticeships. Well, no, not apprentice, but, I don't know. Online courses. That's not the education. The education comes when you're the apprentice, when you're in the fray. So what I mean, you're right, that this parent role isn't to share what you're thinking and tell them it's true. It's to guide these little sponges of, oh, I punched my brother in the eye and now it's black and he's really sad and I don't get to play with him. It's far louder than, don't hit your brother. It's a bad thing to hit your brother.
Or even that, Sully won't share with me. Well, do you share with him? I don't have to reinforce that anymore. I don't have to say, you need to share with your brother, or if you're not going to share, put it away. Because they've had enough experience that they know, well, at least one of them understands that his behavior towards his brother is now being reflected back at him, right? That's a hard lesson.
The whole sharing thing too. It's another, that's certainly one where the social pressure is to
share.
Guide them to share. Well,
but share, I've learned in my time, especially as a preschool teacher, but even before that, like, you shouldn't force someone to share. Right? It's the nice thing to do. It's courteous.
Share your money with me.
Right.
But you have to.
You're supposed to share.
You're supposed to share. What do you mean Bezos isn't sharing money?
But
he's not sharing the money with all of us? Why not? Actually, that's...
But I was taught as a kid. Actually, I always had to share my toys.
That's what the uproar is about, isn't it? These people that make handsfuls, housefuls of money and don't share it.
Right.
But they're
that's another
success. Yeah, tangent.
I think that reflection that we're seeing with our children of pausing, taking that breath, not reacting, has spilled over into other relationships as well, like interacting with adults, right? Like,
I just spent a few days with family over a funeral, a death of my grandma, and yeah, I was with my brother, who has a mastery in pushing my buttons because they're the same ones.
The same ones he's always pushed.
Yeah. And there was a moment where I can remember we were in the car and it was just a back and forth. I said something, no, he said something. No, I said something, that he said something. And I said, all right, Ben. All right, Ben. All right, Ben. All right, Ben. All right. Like, stop. You know, like, stop, brakes. Put on the brakes. Ooh. I shared it with a few people, but not you. But I love this analogy of life is driving. There's a driver, there's a car, there's the outside world, and you know, things your car has to go through and the driver has to negotiate. And maybe it's a road rage, you know, building incident where it's, oh, this guy cut me off, and oh, things are getting crazier, and oh, now I'm in a ditch. I can't believe this happened in my day. The whole time, you had brakes. Mm-hmm. You had brakes the whole time. And we do, as parents, as teachers, as employees, as leaders, as what we have brakes. And in coaching clients, there's been, maybe even every other conversation that we have, I'm advocating for their brakes that they're not using. And that's what we're saying when we say, slow down, take a breath. That's the brakes. You're hitting the brakes on a bad situation. You can always pull over to the side of the road and decompress from, you know, the guy riding your ass. You don't have to have it.
Right, and you can do that in just life. Mm-hmm. If someone's stressing you out, you don't understand why they did this. Mm-hmm. You can react. Most of the time that
your reaction is going to fuel it.
It's going to fuel it and only make you feel worse. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You just slow down. And
you make a point, though, with that response of the 2-year-old getting hit. Sometimes the reaction has to come out.
Right.
It's valid.
Right, and it teaches the other person. But there's so many instances where your reaction, my reaction, doesn't do anything to affect the other person other than put them on the defensive, right? So I've been trying to take more consideration of, is the response I'm about to have going to help in any way, or is it only going to make things worse? Because if it's a situation where I'm upset at someone because of something they did, and I stop them and I yell, I stop, I don't like that. That gives them a message, and they understand I'm upsetting this person, and if I don't stop, it's gonna make the situation worse. And most decent people would stop, right? But if it's something just not that important, and you just...
Order of traffic. I'm supposed to be in front of you. You ran the light. You know, I'm going to ride your butt and make things worse. You're going to more than likely get into the accident by doing something like that. Your reaction makes things more likely to get worse.
Right. So I guess I kind of have a call to action for people, is that where in your life are you only making things worse? Right? We notice it all the time because we have these great little mirrors that,
feedback devices.
Instant feedback devices. and then learning from them, like, oh, I can apply this all over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my challenge to anyone that's listening to this would just be, take a moment the next time you're about to respond or react to what someone says, something someone does, and consider, is what I'm about to say or do going to have any benefit? If it will have a benefit, go for it. But if it's not going to have any benefit, just breathe it in. I really want to say this thing right now, but I'm just going to breathe it out. You can even say it. You can say it in your head. You can say it real quiet. Just let it go. You know? There's a lot.
I like that under the breath thing. Like, you could say, you could curse. You
Yeah.
could say, you're such an asshole.
Right. But I think we could improve most of our relationships just by taking that moment to reflect before.
To observe.
Yeah, to observe your own thoughts, but also to reflect on whether or not how you would respond has any benefit.
Advances. Educates. There's a yeah. How it's going to affect. That is a message. A download, a message, whatever you want to say, came from where thoughts come from, that enter into your mind that you didn't. Here's a way to understand what I'm talking about. Say to yourself, I wonder what I'm going to think next. You just think about, what am I going to think next? What am I going to think next? What am I going to think next? There's a place that they come from. A thought. Some thoughts. And one that came to me was, what if you said nothing? What if you did nothing? What would that do? Watch.
Yeah.
Just watch. You'll see. They'll show you. It will show you.
And to speak to that idea of the thoughts that just come to you. I've talked to some people who get wrapped up in those thoughts that just come into their head and they think, can't control it. People talking about, I can't meditate. These thoughts just keep coming in my head. Or I think these thoughts and I don't know where they're coming from because they're terrible. And I've reminded people, but I even still get sometimes stuck in this trap of thinking that those thoughts are me, right? But it's important to remember those thoughts aren't you. You have no control over the thoughts that come into your brain. I mean,
someday maybe. It's possible that you would.
To some extent, though, some weird idea pops into your brain. You're driving down the highway, and there's a
really should
guardrail,
straws out of Twizzlers,
and a big drop off, and you're like, what would happen if I just drove off the side of that cliff?
Way different place.
What? It's just
Okay.
These thoughts.
What would happen if I just drove off of that cliff? Yeah.
It doesn't mean you want to drive off the side of your cliff or of the cliff.
I really have thought about it. Like, the airbags would go off. The roof would probably cave in. I probably wouldn't feel much.
Right. But when that thought pops into your head, it doesn't mean that you want to do it. It doesn't mean you even think it's a good idea. It's just like, where did that thought come from? That was strange. And I personally believe that women, especially mothers, I'm going to say just mothers in general, have a lot more of these thoughts. I think it's part of mothering. I know it's part of the postpartum hormonal thing of having a lot of anxiety that sometimes leads into postpartum depression, of always having a focus on what is the worst possible thing that could happen.
in good faith, that's coming to you to consider things that are dangerous to your family.
Yes.
The thing that's the part of your body that's outside your body.
But
I
also,
love
there's this tendency that I believe that happens to new moms. Maybe, I mean, I'm still a new mom, so I can't say if I know it's ever going to go away, of that, like, your mind goes to the worst possible place. Why am I thinking this? There must be
She's going to break his heart.
There must be some truth to this if I'm thinking this. Why am I worried about this thing? And I've reminded several women that I work with, like, that's a thought. It came into your brain. Take a moment. Realize that that's probably not real, or that's probably not going to happen. Right? But you can't, to a certain extent, you can't control the thoughts that just randomly pop in your head. Just like you can't control the way another person acts or reacts or responds to you, you can only control your response to those things.
That's the power.
So if every time that I had a thought of, Colin went for a ride around the loop and it's been 7 minutes and I haven't seen him, every time that thought goes somewhere dark, if I had
a dog's got him.
If I had a negative reaction to that, I'd never let my kid go out. Right? And so when I do have those thoughts, I pause and I think, all right, he's got 7 different friends that live in this loop, and the likelihood that he just stopped to play with one of them is 99.99999%.
Maybe the percentages are different, but yeah.
You know, that is the every time until this day, today, that is what has happened. Is he stopped and been distracted by a friend. Right? So, yes, it is important to be aware of the bad things that could happen.
Well, to get to those thoughts that come up are not from some evil place, some demon that's inflicting you with these terrible things. This is for you to review as something that's either going to change you and what you do or not. And that power lies with you.
Right.
It's not, I can't control these thoughts. You are controlling them by how you respond to them.
Okay, yeah.
You are controlling them by saying, these thoughts are making me crazy. No, you're making you crazy. If it's the thoughts, well, we all have them. I think one day when we have the implant and you can hear the noise, people are going to turn it off because we don't want to hear more of it.
Yeah, I think people get afraid to talk about the thoughts they have and the anxieties they have. And they
talk about depression.
I'm alone. But then the more that I've come into circles specifically with other women, like, she just had a reflection of her life that is almost identical to what I wanted to say. It's just
with her features.
With her features. I went to a mom's event just this week, and we had a task at our tables to share what was going on in our lives and like something that is just feeling hard or like we're struggling with. And okay, I've got exactly what I need to talk about right now. And then someone else spoke up first and just changed the specifics of it, but the bigger picture, her worries and her struggles were just like mine. And then the 2 other moms at the table, their reflections were maybe they were altered by what we said, but same struggles, right? Same inner critic, same worries.
So if you had the brain anode, you'd actually hear the same things.
You hear, I hear people reflect sometimes on like kind of making fun of themselves in a way, like
Often. Yes.
but people reflecting on like, oh, I can't believe I said that. It was so stupid. I've been thinking about it all day or all week. And I'm like, well, yeah, I did something stupid like 2.5 years ago, and I still think about it today.
You did? What do you mean?
Well, like there's dozens of things,
okay, yeah.
and occasionally it'll like creep back into my brain, and like, so every time that that person speaks out, that I'm thinking of one person in particular that speaks out about these anxieties. Every time she speaks out about that, I'm like, oh, I'm not alone.
Oh, so you think the brain anode would actually
I think
understand that we're all a mess?
Yeah, I think that as we've been separated into nuclear families and we're not living in community anymore, there's more of that more of the depression seeps in because you think that these thoughts are just mine and no one else is dealing with this. And because that's part of my goal, is to bring people together to talk about these things more. When we come together, we start to realize, oh, I'm not alone with these weird thoughts about driving off cliffs or using Twizzlers as straws, or
thanks.
the thing I said 2.5 years ago that probably nobody else even has any memory of, but I think about it once a month.
I can think of something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And people, I think we just need to understand that we have a lot more in common, all of us as a collective. And when someone says something or does something that really annoys you and you really want to react to it.
Traffic.
About what was the last time that I did something?
Yeah, there you.
What did I do? Yeah, that idea that we're all the same. We're all the same, just with a different set of circumstances, right? If I lived this person's life, I would probably do the same thing. If I had this person's past traumas, past history, past experience of my life, I probably wouldn't know how to deal with the situation and act in this way. And it's really hard. I'm not saying like, go do this because this is how you should live. You should live like everyone else is you, because it's really freaking hard.
Well,
but
you could say that's how you should be.
The more you can be conscious of that everyone else, you just have to hold on to the idea that you don't have to. I am encouraging you to hold on to the idea that everyone is doing their best with the knowledge that they have, the experience they have, the conditions they are in. They're just doing their best. They're doing what they know.
They're doing what they believe they think is right. They want to run that red light in order to get the pumpkin pie to be on time to the
right.
get together. You know, there's a story you can recall just as easily as the one that you label that as bad. You can recall one that you would label it as good.
Right. So my second call to action is just encouraging you. Just try it as a thought experiment. The next time you're frustrated, that person is just me. They're just me, living a different life.
This person is you, living a tough life, because there's not a booby in his mouth anymore.
Yeah. So, I've already asked people listening to try 2 things. Just, it's not gonna. If this is new to you, it's not going to come naturally.
It's not naturally to me, Mama. What do I do?
And it might be challenging. It might be uncomfortable. But if you can start thinking about doing those things more, of taking that pause, taking the time to either just let it go or consider, or not, and also taking the time to consider we're the same. I think you'll find yourself getting worked up or stressed or having those big reactions a lot less.
Cultivate time in the witness.
Yeah, be the witness.
To those wild thoughts.
Yeah, and
To the wild thoughts, to the wild drivers, and understand that you have the power to react or respond. You respond to that thought of driving off the cliff with driving safely.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna pay attention to my driving.
Maybe not driving at nighttime near cliffs.
I think I need
respond
to
to that.
respond to this.
You respond to that red light running driver as you would not run the red light. And green doesn't mean go. Green means go when it's safe.
That is actually my response to the person, is that even if it's green, I'm still gonna wait, and I'm gonna look, and I'm gonna make sure it's safe. I don't care if the person behind me honks because I'm waiting.
I love the driving analogy. I think the driving analogy speaks to a lot of people. Oh, and another thing within that same analogy, channeling that I had, that was you always have brakes, is we're actually doing pretty good. There's not head-on collisions every day on roads that people are driving distractedly, hurtling their family through the air in a piece of metal with their thumb on the steering wheel. It's happening all the time, and not everyone's crashed into a ditch killing their whole family. And same in life, you're doing pretty good, actually. Like, you who is listening to this, keeping your family together, maintaining your job and your profession,
Your relationships,
your health, we're actually all doing pretty good. Really, really well. Just the same as it's occurring every day in traffic. So getting pissed at that guy that ran the red light discounts all this organized chaos that we're
upset about.
We're not appreciating that. Yes, the economy is rough right now. Yes, there's turmoil somewhere on the planet between humans. But for the vast majority of people, we're doing great. We're doing really, really well. And
if you're listening to this, you're doing really well, I would say.
And if you're not, what would you rather have? What would you rather be? See that, define it to yourself. If it's in a notebook, or if it's in a blog, or if it's in a story,
send us a message. Say, this is.
I'm just not where I want to be. I see myself as a 6-figure income, living on a hill, family of 8.
Yeah,
everything's big to me, but it could just be I want to afford my apartment and I want to have a good relationship with another human. You make that, define those terms, and aim toward it. And everyone might be saying, "Well, it's easy for you to say. I don't know. I'm depressed. I'm this and that." Well, the same place that you can take time and witness the traffic, and witness the red light guy, and witness the fact that everything's going pretty well, just, controlled chaos. You can be there and witness some choices that you can make toward that thing that you've now defined as where you'd like to be. And on your way to getting to that place where you'd like to be, it's going to change. The limited amount of experience I have guiding people into something like this, it will change from the time of definition to the time of comfortable realization that you're not going to have what you initially defined, but you're certainly closer to something you'd like. It changes. It changes a lot.
I think it'd be weird if it didn't change.
People forget that. This, I have on a me wall behind the camera a whole bunch of, certificates that I vied for. Right up there is the certificate of completion for submarine warfare pin. That took months. That took 9 months, and it was all I wanted. And then when I got there was more to do. There was not, ta-da, I got my dolphins. It's over. No, there's the next person to aspire to be. And that education you received on your way to getting those dolphins or those promotion or that title of husband, well, now you're a husband. You got to do stuff.
Yeah.
there's more to do.
There.
Right. So the pause in traffic, use your brakes, observe how well things are going, and respond to those red light drivers or red light runners and bad drivers with good driving, with better choices. That's the power we wield as conscious beings, recognizing that everyone else has that same power and they think they're making it correctly. They think running that red light is the right thing to do. It's just more than likely going to be a crash. Or they might get there on time. Doesn't happen, folks. Speeding in traffic doesn't get you there faster. If you have 2 lights on the way from here to there, why does Google predict your arrival so predictedly? Because it knows you're in traffic. You can't go if you're stopped. Anyway, traffic analogy. I like it. I think I might create a course called Life Driver's Ed or something like that. Life Driver Education.
We'll workshop that one.
Life Pilot?
Ooh, that's better.
Life Pilot.
Yeah. Anyway,
Life Pilot's
keep tuned
Education.
for Ian's new offering.
Life Pilot's Education.
We'll work on
LPE.
the name.
What are you doing this weekend? Oh, I've got the LPE course. I'm going to sit down and do it. But we can talk some more. The baby's asleep now. You've done it.
You want to pause this one and start a new one?
Wait. Don't go. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and share via review or post how this episode complemented your life.
Thank you for listening. Connect with us on Instagram or Facebook at Memory Millionaires. Be well.